Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. It is reported that the United States is drafting sanctions that may cut off some Chinese banks from the global financial system. The United States has kicked Russia out of the international clearing system, SWIFT, before, and now the same routine is being applied to China. Some people are frightened by this, worrying that after China is kicked out, not only will it lose foreign trade, but even going to Thailand will have to find the black market to exchange currency. So, is this really the case? At present, cross-border settlements by global banking institutions are almost all completed through the International Clearing System, SWIFT. SWIFT covers more than 11,000 financial institutions in more than 200 countries and regions around the world, processes up to 42 million financial messages every day, and transfers funds in trillions of dollars. It can be said that almost all important financial institutions in the world are members of SWIFT. It is worth mentioning that SWIFT does not directly handle fund transfers, but transmits payment instructions, that is, financial messages. It can be simply understood as telling the member bank who has transferred money to you and who you should transfer it to. It focuses on the function of information interaction. For example, if an American bank needs to transfer money to a German bank, the American bank will send a message containing the payment details to the German bank via SWIFT. After the German bank confirms the instruction, it obtains the funds from its correspondent bank in the United States and then credits them to the final recipient's account. Although SWIFT itself is a politically neutral international organization, the system is maintained and managed by the United States. The Bank for International Settlements does not have direct jurisdiction over SWIFT and would have difficulty intervening in U.S. decision-making. In other words, SWIFT is basically decided by Americans. There is no way, because in the international market, most cross-border payments are settled in large amounts in U.S. dollars, and the US dollar has the highest share of usage. This gives the United States a bargaining chip to show off its power. If any country is dissatisfied, it threatens to kick it out of the SWIFT system. Once kicked out, the country will lose its main channel for cross-border payments and information transfer with other financial institutions, which will greatly hinder its international transactions and capital flows. To put it more vividly, SWIFT is the house number of each bank in the global village. Without SWIFT, your company will be a black account without a hukou in international business, which is equivalent to being deprived of the rights and capabilities of international transactions. Previously, after Iran was kicked out of the US dollar payment system by the United States, the Iranian dollar turned into waste paper overnight and was thrown on the street without anyone picking it up. Iran's foreign trade has fallen into recession, its import and export scale has declined sharply, and its crude oil exports have shrunk by half. During the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, the United States followed suit and kicked Russia out of the SWIFT system, involving 10 of Russia's largest financial institutions, whose assets accounted for nearly 80% of the total assets of the Russian banking industry. Therefore, for Russia, it can be called a financial nuclear bomb level of lethality. How China responds. Because of this, some people are worried that once China is kicked out of SWIFT, will it return to before liberation overnight? First of all, Americans dare not do this. You must know that China is the world's largest trading nation and the world's second largest economy. It also has the most complete manufacturing industry chain. Its importance to the global economy is self-evident. It is no exaggeration to say that if China withdraws from SWIFT, the US dollar will collapse directly. The so-called trading system is generated based on transactions. The currency that can buy goods is the real currency. Secondly, even if Americans are very hard-headed and insist on doing this, it will be fine. Because China has already had Plan B. For example, the CIPS, cross-border RMB payment system, launched by China in 2012 can use RMB for direct settlement without opening a correspondent bank account. It can also reduce transfer fees and time. It is undoubtedly a confrontation with the US dollar. The industry generally believes that the establishment of CIPS, while complying with market demand, will further promote the use of RMB around the world and pave the way for it to become a truly global currency. In 2022, the system has processed a total of 4.4004 million cross-border RMB businesses, with an amount of 96.70 trillion yuan, a year-on-year increase of 31.68% and 21.48% respectively. According to the SWIFT research report, in the ranking of global cross-border trade currencies in 2022, the RMB will remain third, accounting for 3.91%, nearly double that of 2021. In the ranking of global payment currencies, the RMB will remain fifth. As of the end of 2022, there are 1,366 participants in the CIPS system, including 79 direct participants and 1,287 indirect participants, covering 107 countries and regions around the world. And more importantly, the biggest difference between CIPS and SWIFT is that it has both settlement and message information transmission functions, and it mainly uses RMB cross-border settlement. This move will not only help promote the use and acceptance of RMB globally, but also help break the existing international financial monopoly system. Especially in the field of international payments, it reduces reliance on the US dollar in the Western financial system. By the way, after Russia was kicked out of SWIFT by Europe and the United States, Russia decided to use the local version of the Financial Information Transmission System, SPFS, for domestic payments, while China's CIPS was used overseas. After joining the CIPS system, the processing time of Russia's cross-border RMB business in China will be shortened and the settlement speed will be accelerated. At the same time, many Russian financial institutions have also confirmed that the popularity of RMB in the international settlement of Russian enterprises is on the rise. By the end of 2022, the proportion of its settlement using RMB has increased to 65% and continues to increase. Relevant data shows that in the first 8 months of 2021, the average monthly settlement amount of CIPS was as high as 6.375 trillion yuan, about $1 trillion. Russia's total import and export volume in 2021 is $789.4 billion. In other words, CIPS is basically enough to meet Russia's global trade settlement needs. In a sense, CIPS undoubtedly saved the Russian economy. Therefore, if the United States really insists on going its own way, it will undoubtedly give China a magic assist, and CIPS will soon replace SWIFT. In general, in order for China's financial and banking industries to not be subject to the United States in economic globalization, CIPS is the best choice. To put it bluntly, no matter whether the United States uses monetary blackmail or nuclear blackmail, it is just a paper tiger. Although China's CIPS is currently not as large as SWIFT in terms of quantity and scale, there is an old saying, "A single spark can start a prairie fire," which is very suitable here. Think about when China was kicked out of the International Space Station project and refused to sell high-end chips to China. What was the final result? Therefore, even if the United States stumbles upon China at every turn, it cannot stop China's development at all. The world has been suffering for a long time. It is time for the Western monopoly rules to adapt to the development of the times. Who can compete with the general trend?